Hey everybody, welcome back to Watch in the Dark. I'm your host, Tate Garrett, and we're going to be going over my list and my opponent's list for CAG Bash 2023 and how I did. With all that out of the way, let's get into my list. First up, I have a Death Guard Demon Prince. Revolting Resilient is the Warlord trait I gave him, and the relic I gave him is the Plague Skull of Glyphilla. I don't really know overall how happy I am with this current iteration of the Demon Prince. Revolting Resilience definitely is worth it on him. I don't really know how I feel about the Plague Skull. Maybe that goes more on the Terminator or something. I have very mixed opinions on how he did during the tournament and the games that played out. But I think he's fine. I think he does okay work and he gets around. Next up, I have two Plaguecasters functionally identical. One just has the point upgrade for the bonus strength and stuff on his melee weapon. Really just because I had the points left over to give it to him. I didn't really have a rhyme or reason why I put it on him. Probably could have been better on one of the either Plague Marine unit or I really don't know. Those leftover points were just so hard to spend because we have so many free upgrades. There wasn't really any direct path I saw to getting something much better. Moving on from that, we have two squads of Plague Marines. Load out with Plasma Gun Power Fist, Blight Launcher, Cleaver, Flail, and then a Plasma Gun again. This is just a good loadout for 95 points. Plague Marines did alright. They walked around. Sometimes they were occasionally good and they got a few Plasma Gun shots off. I really ended up not getting them in combat that often and them really not ending up doing much other than spread the sickness and stuff. Poxwalkers, about the same. They sat around, they screen, they just existed, kind of just were there for spread the sickness and because I had the slots and points left over for them. Next up, we have the Blight Lord Terminators. Acid Malady for the bonus AP. I honestly forgot I had it for most of the event. I normally just run them all Comic Vulture because I just enjoy the 32 shots with the Toll Keeper with +1 to hit. You can spin a strat to give them bonuses to wound and hit and stuff. For the Terminators, it's just good. The two Flail Corruptions I'm mixed on. I would rather just have two more Vultures if I still would keep the Flails. The biggest thing about the Terminator break is it wasn't in combat often, and the times it was in combat, it was awesome. And it was really just a unit to sit there and get Miasma, Pestilence, and Suggestive Vitality off and just walk forward at the enemy and have something I know that will get to them inevitably. Because they've got so many other threats to deal with that they can't really target out other threats that you'll see in a second. Next up, we have a Foul Blight Spawn with Revolting Stench and the Warlord trait for Inexorable. It's okay. Ferric Blight gives the bonus AP while you're within his contagion range. You can put it on other units, and that does help out, especially when you have the mowers that we're getting ready to talk about, the foe blow drones with flash mowers that you see right here on screen. That really does help when your enemy's in the contagion range from the mowers and can get that AP3 in combat with the mowers. So it comes up a lot. And then straight into the Tallyman, we gave him Toll Keeper, so we can buff the unit Terminators like I was talking about with 32 shots. Just in the Vultures. I know the combat weapons are free on the Terminators. I think it's just fine to run them with Vultures and just have that mass volume to kill stuff like Guardsmen and things that your list isn't really equipped with, like mass hordes and stuff. Just having that Terminator unit there with all of those shots actually helps a ton. And really coming up next is, rounding out the list, is the Foe Bloat Drones. We have 3 of them with Flesh Mowers, and we have 3 Plague Burst Crawlers. This is really good. The Flesh Mowers are just Strength 7, AP2, Damage 2, 12 attacks, 9 wounds, T7, 3 up, 5 up. It's just an all-around good model. 115 points gives us that little bit of speed we need. And a lot of the games, I just put them all next to each other with the Demon Prince right behind them and just ran at the enemy and just really tried to cripple flank just using those 4 models. Because together, they are very hard to remove when you have Terminators walking at you and Plague Burst Crawlers moving up at you. And all these other things just like walking at you. It is pretty hard to deal with. Like, if you want to full focus the drones, you're not focusing down the things that can also hurt you back, which came up a lot. In round 1, I was up against CSM, my buddy Conrad. He was playing Creations of Bile. Pretty standard list: Defense of Neural, Dark Apostle, Lord Discordant, Master Possession, Cultist Mob, Legionnaires, and then he had a Chaos Terminator break, like a lot of them do. 3x5 Possessed, and 2 Venom Crawlers. I did end up winning this match, but it's tough for him to really do much. The Plague Burst Crawlers just get to rip through these Venom Crawlers and just like bombard his backfield like these Legionnaires and these Cultists and stuff that aren't really tough enough. And then really all he has to deal with my drones and my Terminators are Possessed and Chaos Terminator squads, which just do not hold up into a Miasma Pestilence, Putrescent Vitality brick at all, or even the drones. The drones, one drone hurts Possessed, 2 drones almost kills the squad, if not does kill the squad, and it's really hard for them to kill a drone in response. But overall, the match went in my favor and ended up being able to take him out there. And moving on, my round 2 was against my other buddy that plays Custodes, David. He played Custodes with Shield Captain Doniel Jetbike. This is the one that's tip of the spear, like -1 hit and 5 of Field of Pain. Triton Valoris. Custodian Guard Squad, Sagittarium Squad. 2 Alaris Custodians, just for some behind me in lines points and stuff, I think is what he was going for this game. And then he had 2 squads of Atari, and then 3 Jetbike squads. This was fine. I think his crucial mistake here, because I don't know how I feel about this match. It feels very coin flip and like mission based. There's a lot of factors that go into this. I think his mistake was he just ended up pushing into me turn 1 and going for some long bomb charges, and he didn't really get that damage in he needed. And then I made a few 9-inch charges back with the drones and the Demon Prince and was able to get in, and I got very, very fortunate and was able to take out, I think, 5 bikes between, probably 4 bikes between the 2 drones, and I think the Terminators and the Plague Burst killed the other unit, so he only had about 3 total bikes left at the start of turn 2. Round 3 is where I really started to panic. He took heirloom weapons and Swift as the wind instead of the auto wind on 6s, which I think would have been much better against my specific army, so I don't really know how that worked out for him in the end. I wish him the best of luck. He was a really fun opponent. He had a KN squad, Death Rider Command, Lord Solar, Primaris Psyker, bunch of units of Kriegers, a few infantry squads, and then he had some combat engineer squads, which are kind of nice, and Castrican. Then he had a Death Rider squad, and then 2 Leman Russes and a Scout Sentinel. I think he also, the really spicy deck was the Rapier Laser Destroyer batteries. They're like couple hundred, they're 255 points for 9 shots, strength 10, AP -4, damage D3+3. They are insane weapons. They are fantastic. They are a little bit squishy though. Like I said, round 3 I really started to panic. He only had 1 unit Kashkin, thankfully. So it was pretty easy to deal with them. And he didn't have a lot of anti-tank, or at least it wasn't enough to deal with my Plague Burst Crawlers turn 1, and my Bloat Drones, and my Prince, so it allowed me to get to him really fast, and then lock up a bunch of things, keep them all in combat, and be able to really mess up his tanks in response. Also, only having 1 deny, my list actually has a decent amount of casting, just around to do some mortals. That came up a lot. So we'll see in the future. I don't know if the guard matchup is a favorable matchup for that guard. I really don't think so when they have that banner and stuff to ignore -1 damage, feel no pains, all that. That can really be a tough one. But this game, I think things just went in my favor. I was able to get to him, and it went really, really, really well for me. This is Deus Try Salvage as well, so there was more objectives for me to hold. It gave me a chance to win back on primary and stuff like that. And I was able to chase him down at the end and be able to stop him in his tracks. Okay, round 4 is where I really, really started to sweat. This is one of my other buddies I've met at a few events. Great guy. His list was like the meta list, had like 5 Leman Russes, 1 Tank Commander, Lord Solar. He did have a Death Corps Marshal. Cadian Shock Troops, triple Castrican. Just a few Ratlings and stuff. Scout Sentinel. Those were actually insanely good because they have a Hunter Killer Missile, Plasma Gun. They just end up being really good if they're near the banner to get the ignore damage on my Death Guard Terminators and stuff, or even my Bloat Drones and stuff. I deployed very aggressively into this match, and I'll go into more detail in a future podcast coming soon. But overall, I thought this match was going to go terribly, but thankfully Dice bailed me out a little bit. And he low rolled a bit, and he managed to kill all 3 Blow Drones, but didn't kill a single Plague Burst turn 1. I was able to kill, I believe, 4 or 3 of the Leman Russes turn 1. Or sorry, turn 1. And then turn 2, I was able to finish off the Lehman Russes and all of the Castrican. And at that point, I was able to slowly walk across the table and take his home field, tie him up, and then he just didn't have the resources to deal with that many models that durable. Finally, last round was against World Eaters. This was a brutal match, and I will say right here, I had no chance in this match. It should have gone to Kevin almost every way we talk about it. He should have won this. I offered him up to availability. If he wanted anything off the table, I'd grab it for him, so he doesn't have to worry about not placing or something. He ended up placing third. Great. But this list is ruthless. In the secondaries they take, I thought it was over. And it's so good. It's 2 of the Juggerlords, 1 named. 4 squad of Berserkers and Rhinos with all of the upgrades like the Eviscerator Chainsword and all of that fun stuff. 3 units of 5 8-bound and 3 units of 3 Exalted 8-bound. Then he just has 3 Chaos Spawn and 2 Rhinos. This list looks super simple. It really is. He went first. He pregame moved, ran up to me. But he did not move up his Lord to get that +2 movement. And he failed a 4-inch rerollable charge in my Poxwalkers. And that alone, I think, was able to let me claw back this game very barely. It was an amazing game with him. I think he should have won the match. And overall, he was an amazing player. And Kevin, cannot thank you enough for that game. It was the highlight of my weekend. That being said, I think I got very lucky in a lot of these matchups. And I think that Death Guard still aren't in the greatest spot. And my list has a lot of tweaking to go through. With all that being said, go check out the Disgustingly Resilient podcast. Should be out sometime later this week, if not next week. And we will be with them going over in more depth about each of these games and how I did. And there will be a link in the description down below. So thank you all, and I'll see you guys in the next one.